You people.
Hey guys, it's Avery.
Alright, just a friendly reminder that this week you have no school tomorrow, thank God. Monday, you have 1 through 10 index cards are due. Tuesday, 11 through 20 outline. Wednesday, test, focus study guide. It's a little bit of a weird week. Please make sure you do plan. This week's content, not that hard. However, it's a good week to get a good score. We all saw what you guys did yesterday. So, no, you're all terrible.
Hey guys. I'm
Alright.
so nice.
Nico. Alright, please listen real quick. I would like to get something done today. So, when we're talking about personalities, we have to look at it in a cultural way because as Americans, we see ourselves. Americans, do we have a positive reputation or negative reputation around the world?
Negative.
And what are some of the things they say negatively against us? We're fat,
We have freedom.
lazy,
You're so offended so easily.
we're so easily offended, and we're loud as hell.
We have freedom. Yeah.
I think we just proved it. Listen to fifth period. I would agree.
They don't have freedom like we have freedom.
Who's judging?
Who are we judging?
We're not judging us.
We're judging ourselves as America.
When the world sees America, what do they think
Oh,
of?
they hate
Freedom.
you
They
guys.
think of the world.
You
guys?
3, 2. Okay, so when we talk about our culture overall, would you say Americans are loud?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. When we start talking about it, we have to keep an idea that our culture does affect us. So behavior genetics. This is on number 1 on your focus. By the way, what's the role of behavioral genetics and how twin adoption? This is number 1. By the way, so we're going to look at culture, but we also have to look at our genetics. Okay. So what are behavior genetics? They're a field of study in which a relationship between heredity and personality. So we're looking at how much your parents' genes have affected you in the shaping of your personality. Obviously, some of your personality has been created by your experiences, correct? Nico, when he was a wee little Nico, got a joke laughed at. So here we are suffering with this 17 years later. Okay? Fake news. Anyway, so when we're talking about it, of course, experiences play a big role into the shaping of our personality. However, it's also our heredity. So, T, what did you get? What part of your personality did you get from your mom?
Wait, I honestly don't think any.
Then everything's from your dad?
Yeah.
Like what?
He's
T, there's nothing about you that's lazy.
The good look.
lazy.
T, do you not turn in all your work every single week? You may be a procrastinator, yes, but procrastinators aren't lazy.
Yes.
You're terrible planners who live on high stress. Yes, that's not lazy, T. Thank you very much. Maddie, what did you get from your mama?
Wait, really?
Like, excuse me.
Guys, is it that hard to figure out what you got?
I didn't.
Valentino, thank you, save us.
Just definitely sarcasm.
Sarcasm from your mom or dad?
Mom.
Mom,
Yes.
what'd you get from your dad?
Dad. Maybe more like real.
Cheese.
That's
I know.
He's never gonna raise his hand again.
Aw, he picks on me all the time. All right, what did you get from your dad?
Probably like street smart.
Street smarts, all right. Christina, what did you get from your mama?
Patience.
She is very patient. She's sitting back there with her hand on her cheek, judging the hell out of us for wasting her time. But she ain't gonna yell about it. She's just gonna judge the hell out of you. All right, what did you get from your dad?
Organization, and time management.
Okay. See, a prepared answer. What did you get, Morgan, from your mama?
Probably organization and dealing with stress.
Okay. What does your mom do?
She's a professor at UT.
Oh, very cool. What does she teach?
She's director of clinical education, so she puts places in turn.
It's a pretty big deal. How fancy. All right, what did you get from your dad?
I'm really impatient. And so is my dad.
Are you a terrible driver?
Yeah, because I can't. I'm weaving, and
Yep.
I have to be waiting.
Yep, same. All right, so behavior genetics is actually looking for those deep connections between your personality and where you got them from. Okay, so when we talk about it, we're looking at twin studies, of course. This is still number 1, so please write it down for our focus. So when we're talking about twin studies, why do we like twin studies, Elijah?
Because they're genetically identical, but based on experience, nature.
There you go. So the reason why we like twin studies and we prefer identical rather than fraternal twins because of they're as similar as possible. Then we can see how the effect of environment has then shaped their personality. We can see what is at least responsibly what is inherited and what is based on environment. If you know any identical twins, okay, there is personality differences. Sometimes they're gaping personality differences. Some of them are a little more marginal. Morgan, did you have a question, darling?
Yeah, isn't there like, okay, I don't know if this is true, but like with the twin, like the separating twin studies, there aren't a lot of them facing similar socioeconomic.
I wouldn't go ahead and say most, but typically I would assume because if you're adopting, you have to be probably upper middle class. You know,
Okay,
so
that
most
makes sense.
houses would probably be upper middle class to adopt.
So it would be a similar.
To a degree, I would think, but I have no research or any like strong feelings either way. But so when we talk about it, we're talking about genetic studies, stuff like that. All right, so on your study guide, I would fill this in there. This happens to be number 2 on your focus as well, but I would fill it in on your study guide and then go back and fill it in on your focus. Is everyone good on that? So when we study how our personalities are shaped by culture, we break it down by Hofstede's 4 general approaches. And the first one is individualism versus collectivism. Now, you're going to have to listen to a dictation, write it down. Individualism is... They are. I'm going to do 2 separate. Individualism is when you put your needs... It's when you put your needs and desires above family. Okay, it's when you put you and your needs above family. Collectivism is when you put your family above your own needs. Okay, so when we talk about the United States, are we individualistic or collective? Individualist. So your application for individualism should be the United States. As a culture, we're individualistic. How many of you are excited to have your family, your parents move into your first house with your new husband or wife? Yeah, welcome to individualism. Yes. How many of you are looking forward to moving to college, then moving back home because that's the real dream? Oh, none of you, because we're individualistic and we don't want to stay at home. We want to start our own lives, start our own families, correct? Individualistic. What is another country that's individualistic? Britain, absolutely. What's another one? Nika? All of France, absolutely. What's another one? Hello, think of the region that you're speaking of.
France.
Canada, France, we already covered it. Germany, all of your Western countries are typically going to fall under individualistic. Collective, what would be a good country to do for collective? What do you got, T? India, absolutely. They've got generations on generations on generations living in one house. Anyone else have, anyone? Elijah!
The USSR.
That's what I was gonna say.
The
I was gonna say the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they couldn't afford anything else, I guess, but let's not use that one, yes.
Italy did it? Because like they're large families or something.
You're a Hispanic country, Spain. Hispanic countries are typically more collective, yes. What do you got, Alyssa? Mexico is definitely generation on top of generation. What do you got?
China.
China, yes, they're a big collective. What do you got?
Netherlands.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea. That's beyond my scope, man. I don't know. I'll be there this
At least I
year, so
think.
I'll let you know. What?
A lot of Africa.
A lot of Africa, absolutely. So when we talk about collectivism, it's you go, get educated, you make money, you bring it back to your family, and then your family is better off. It's about the self-improvement of your family, not the self-improvement of you in your future. What? Philippines is a very good example of collectivism. Japan is also a very good example of it. Okay, so any country that puts family over individual is collective. So your second thing is called power distance. Now, power distance, and you're going to want to take this dictation, is how close or far a person feels they can influence government. It is how much or how little a person can influence their government. Okay? So here in the United States, do we have a high power distance or a low power distance? Do we feel like we can affect change or not affect change? Actually, low is the term we use. Low power distance means that if we need to, we can get out and easily touch our senators, our president. We have an effect on change. A high power distance is in countries that there's just no way that you're ever going to affect or change. Do we see the language difference? Because there's a test question on it and people get tricked on it. High is when there is nothing that you will ever be able to do that will affect how the government runs. So what would be a high power distance country? Nico.
I went for low. My bad.
Thank you for listening. Valentina.
China.
China, yes. They do put on a little bit of a charade called voting, but it's really not that well hidden. So yes, high power distance. Yeah, if you're a poor peasant, life's kind of hard. What do you got?
USSR.
Okay, no, USSR is dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's 91, it's over. No. But what would be another country?
North Korea.
North Korea is the perfect example. If you are a peasant in North Korea, first of all, you're on the brink of death because you're starving to death. And you probably have died already, to be honest. Okay? There's no way that you are going to get to Kim Jong-un and rank here. 3,
It was like scary.
2. So, low power distance are countries like the United States. England has a medium because there is a royal component to their parliamentary system. France is a low power. So, for instance, a good example of this is that a lot of people here in the United States aren't happy with what's going on in the United States. So, for the first time, we've had the largest amount of women and minorities petitioning to be on the ballot for the midterm elections in the history of the United States by 4 times, which is crazy. So we have more minorities and women petitioning to be on the election ballot in the midterm elections than any previous time. That's showing us that people aren't happy and they want change. We feel that if we don't like what a government official is doing, that we can actually affect the change. Now, if you love what Trump is doing, you feel like you put him in power by voting for him, correct? And that if you don't like what he's doing, then you can take away your vote and give it to someone else here in 4 years, correct? The ruling party at some point has to listen to the masses, so we have a low power distance. So everyone clear on that? All right, so your next one is masculinity versus femininity. Keep in mind, we're talking about this with cultures. So masculinity are very loud, powerful. I really want to use this word because it's the only word coming to my head. Bodacious countries. Feminine countries are passive, supportive, and not militaristically driven. Okay, so the United States would be masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
Oh yeah, we may even have our own military parade, son. Here we go.
Yes.
Oh man, how funny. Anyway, so United States is definitely a masculine country. The way we interact with other countries, we tell people what to do, correct? We threaten things, we say we're going to do this, this, and this, that. So what would be a good example of a feminine country? Jackson. So United States is big, boisterous. We go around and we say whatever the hell we want and everybody reacts. So what would be a country we can... Canada. Canada kind of does. No, I don't think Canada will. No.
They definitely have
They-
military.
no.
Canada's really
No,
stepped
they
up their
take
game.
a big step in the war game.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no to Canada, but it's not the worst one. Stereotypically, I would say yeah, ride or die Canada.
Sorry.
So it's not a terrible one. What would be a good one, Maddie?
That's a big.
It's crazy.
No, I wouldn't say France. I wouldn't say France. I mean, their military is kind of a joke, but like
They have
Switzerland! Is that perfect?
Flags. No, they have a lot of flags, and they're all white. France.
Switzerland is a perfect example. Why is Switzerland a perfect example, Maddie?
We're sorry.
They are completely neutral in every single thing. They try to keep themselves. Who is another country? JR. Denmark. Absolutely no one gives a crap about, I mean, except if you're a Dane. We love you. We're so grateful. But no one cares about what Denmark's doing. Okay, absolutely. No one's like, oh, let's ask what Denmark thinks. No one cares.
European Canada.
Sorry.
Do they have a cute prime minister like Canada does? Justin Thoreau, man. He is so cute.
I'm not want to move to Canada
I'm
just
pretty
as
sure.
a state.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure
man.
the Prime Minister is a girl.
Of Canada?
Of Denmark.
Oh, I have no idea. Literally, I have no idea. Who knows? Alright, what is another country, Avery, who's texting someone about the Prime Minister of Canada, I assume, because that's what we're talking about? What other countries does the United States don't even care about their opinion? Our president just insulted one, and they couldn't. Ooh, I like. Yes! All of those countries. Feminine. There's still people without power and water, for God's sake. Alright, so any country that the United States does not take into full value of what they say. Now, where would China fall? Masculine or feminine? Masculine, absolutely. So when Trump, a lot of our Republican senators, when Trump said he wanted to do a parade, a lot of our Republican senators say, hey, no. We don't want to start a show military war with China. Why? Because we don't want China to feel like we're trying to get them to show military, and then this is going to be the age of aggression, and then we've already had a war based on this twice. Why do we need a third one? So where they're trying to like say, let's not do this. It's a dangerous step. What we would say about Russia? Oh, absolutely. They just stole a country 4 years ago. You're not allowed to do that, and they just said, screw it, we're doing
Still
it.
getting back.
Oh my God. Oh, okay, cool. So, masculine, feminine. Now, remember, we're talking about these in personalities. When you have a masculine country like the United States, how does that affect our personalities as U.S. citizens? That we are absolutely very prideful, that we are very loud about our opinions, that we have to make sure people know we're Americans, and I've totally bought into this because July 4th is my second favorite holiday. First one's Thanksgiving. And I was in Italy. No, I was in Greece for the 4th of July, and I showed up in my stereotypical America outfit. And I was so proud wearing my little American flag. And, like, even McCrae was wearing his little board shorts with America on. And Ren, who is fancy, was like, could you be less American? And I was like, I'm a history teacher. This is my day. And he was like, you're the worst. Okay? Uncertainty avoidance. Uncertainty avoidance is the next one. Uncertainty avoidance is, here you go. It is the belief that the government will continue to exist in the near or far future. Okay? So what that means is that you can have high uncertainty avoidance or low uncertainty avoidance. Here in the United States, do we believe our government's going to continue to exist?
Yes.
Yes. Okay? Whether you love Trump, hate Trump, we all believe we'll be voting again in 4 years, correct? Okay?
Is that high or low?
That's going to be low uncertainty. We know the United States is going to continue to exist. We have that faith. However, what would be another country that has a low uncertainty avoidance? We know their government's going to continue to exist. Elijah. Britain, absolutely. They've been kicking it for centuries at this point. What else would be another one? China is a good one. Their heritage goes back, huh?
North Korea.
No, actually, North Korea has had some really rough times. They haven't been their own country for a very long time, which is why they hate Japan more than anything. They've been invaded twice, been destroyed like a bunch of times. It's pretty terrible.
Okay, seriously.
Yeah, and they've been taken over by the Chinese for a while. Yeah, it's not, wouldn't say. Okay, now, high uncertainty avoidance. Nico.
You guys will start.
Why is this a thing for you? Why is this your thing
Am
today?
I wrong?
Your girl Christina back there is not enjoying it. But she's not saying anything about it. I just want you to know. What would be a high uncertainty? Max.
Ghana, because they're under like a military.
Absolutely. Ghana would be a perfect one. Elijah. Sudan, absolutely. Niger right now is being inundated by ISIS and Islamic extremists right now. So they're really, the United States has a very large presence, which we just found out really about 4 months ago once we had those 4 soldiers die. We've actually had more troops be deployed there because we're trying to help them stabilize their country because we don't want it to fall to Islamic terrorism. They have a very, very high uncertainty. They have no idea if tomorrow their government's going to be there. How would that affect our personalities? Absolutely. Okay, you would think things are very fleeting, high stress, all of those different components. If you were born during this time period or you are a young person, how well do you think your personality is going to be developed with that? Are you really going to be hopeful and really think long-term, or are you short-term? Short-term, absolutely, and that affects our goals, that affects our thoughts, our beliefs, and all that stuff. Yes.
I was going to say it's kind of similar to like what we learned about the effect of a catastrophe or widespread. Like,
Absolutely.
calamity, because there's a high sense of threat or aggression.
Absolutely, 100%. How would you survive? How would you survive? Think about it. If China today invaded us, how would we cope? Would you be like, oh, it's fine, I'm going to go to Florida next year, I'm going to graduate from high school next year and go to university, or are you going to be, or is everything kind of changed? Nico, get something down. Interviews on your sheet. You got an interview done? Oh, cool. So, when things happen, it changes the way it affects us culturally. It's not just our own individual. It's also a culture thing. So keep that in mind. All right, interviews. This is really hard. So please sit back, drink this in. I know you're going to struggle with it, but an interview is when someone asks a question and then the other person answers.
Wow. You ever see that?
I know. If you need me to say it again, I will. It is when one person asks a question and then another person answers. Damn. It's tough stuff. Okay. Hopefully you've seen interviews that have changed your opinions on things, correct? That by watching an interview, hearing both sides, you kind of change your opinion about certain things, yes? Or even people. Like, for instance, I saw an interview with Demi Lovato. I'm just taking it down from politics here. Thank you, kindly. That girl has gone through so much. Who knew Barney would ruin a child's life? Oh, because she's, addicted to, cocaine since she was, 11 or 12. She was.
Did she cut herself in her sheet?
Yeah, something like that.
Serious?
It was good.
It was good.
It was good. So I went ahead and downloaded 3 Demi Lovato songs. Gotta support my girl. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So that changed my opinion of her. Beforehand I was kind of why is she so angsty? But now I get it. I get it. What else would be another interview that you've seen that kind of changed your opinion? What do you got?
The documentary about Lady Gaga on Netflix.
Is it good? I'll have to check it out, maybe.
Oprah.
Is it good?
Whenever Oprah talks about her life story.
There you go. It is pretty amazing. Another one. For instance, one of the big things, going back to politics, because it's what I'm obsessed with anyway. Going back to politics, the Jimmy Fallon sitting down with Donald Trump interview was the turning point of Trump winning the election. Because it's the interview where Jimmy is like, can I touch your hair? And Donald Trump's like, yeah. Goes like that. Well, since that interview, so many people since that interview, Jimmy Fallon's numbers have plummeted. Because people are associating that moment where for the first time, Donald Trump seems like an actual human being, correct? It's actually a funny interview. He's very personable in the interview. And a lot of people have said that interview gave a lot of people a positive feeling. Oh, he's not that bad. He's fine. Maybe he just says inflammatory comments. But he's not a bad human being. And that interview. So Jimmy Fallon used to be the king of late night. Not anymore. And he ties it directly too. And he's talked about it openly on his show and in interviews. That if he could do it again, he would never have done that. So, anyway. I know my dad, because he voted for Trump. He's not a huge Trump supporter. My brother is, though. And my brother's like, I don't know how you could hate Trump after that interview.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, I am, yeah. Huh?
Except for me, save yourself.
So,
Don't let the administration.
what?
I said remain apolitical, don't let the administration.
Well, no, I think it's important to show both sides.
Yeah.
I try to play both sides. I try, but I'm not going to ignore what's happening in the world either.
Of course, yeah.
I think it's important that you bring it in. I try to show both sides. Some things Trump does I don't think are the worst thing. Some things I actually kind of agree with. Some things I absolutely think are the worst thing that's ever been said. But I also have those thoughts about Obama as well. And Hillary Clinton has plenty of flaws. She has some strengths. She has plenty of flaws as well. Try to be fair. Oh my God. Halo effect is when you have an interviewer who only brings the highlights and does not acknowledge or push through and make it a harder interview. You cannot mention Halo effect without mentioning Fox News recently. Right there. If you haven't noticed, President Trump has only been doing really interviews with Fox News. The reason is Fox News goes well out of their way to be incredibly kind. You can't argue that. It's fact, whether you like it or not. Trump is favored on Fox News. You can say CNN's targeting. I will just say Joe Biden was on CNN this week, and he did an interview with them. And I think, even though I love him, I think CNN did kind of a disservice. They didn't push him on a couple of things from his previous administration where they should have gone a little bit harder on him. They did a halo effect, made Joe look like this perfect guy, which is a pretty great guy, but he's made some mistakes. They didn't push him on that. Fox News does the same thing with Trump. No, we're not calling him. Thank you. Okay, so personality test. Here we go. Projection. How much time do I have? Avery! I'm already sad today, Avery. I'm already sad. I had someone cheat on me.
Jesus Christ.
It's exactly what it is. It's very personal in AP World. It is very personal. AP World is intimate. All of us have no friends. We have no life. Our life's miserable, and all we do is work.
Just try to project
No, everyone. T?
Yeah.
Is fact or not fact?
That, I would say it's
that.
twice.
Plus they're more couple
I like it right now.
Huh?
Whoever takes that class is friends.
It
No
is
one
horrible.
caught that joke.
No one thought it was funny.
No one heard that. He thought it was funny.
No.
I said I like it right now.
All right, here we go. So projections are defense mechanisms, which is one of my favorite. When I'm sad at everyone, I'm sad at you. When I'm sad at one kid, I get sad at everyone. It's one of my faves. And it's when thoughts actually belong to others, belong to other people. We've talked about it. Projective tests are done. You need to write psychoanalytic/psychodynamic because those are the therapists who are going to use these types of tests. It's important as we go through this process that you are tying the test to the type of therapist that would be using them in psychoanalytic. So, projective tests are personality assessments that present ambiguous, which means it has no real clear thing in it, and ask the client to respond with whatever comes to mind. I know I just asked and someone responded. How much time do I have? Perfect. Okay, we can do this. The most famous of the projective tests is the Rorschach-Inkblot test. Okay, it's a projective test, so underneath Rorschach in the little box, I would write projective. And it's obviously being done by psychoanalytic, psychodynamic, of course. It's 10 projective tests that uses ink blots as the ambiguous stimuli. So I'm going to show you some here in a second. It'll make a whole lot more sense in a second.
Is that like the, like, you watching? Or like Rorschach, whatever?
Rorschach from Washington, yeah.
Watchmen. Have you watched
It was
Watchmen?
a comic book.
It's like this guy, he has like a mask and it's a bunch of the eat slots and they like eat.
It's like the best comic book ever.
Yeah, it's really good. They made a movie about it.
Cool.
It's definitely really
Wow.
You don't think I'm old enough to see it?
Might be an adult.
I was here with some
good.
All
Yeah, no, yeah.
right, here we go. Let me show you a couple of them. What? Oh, it's an actual test. I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to explain everything here in a second. Okay? No, it's
Isn't this like the thing
where
that's
are you on this? It's a projective. It's projective. What?
Isn't this like that stereotypical thing where therapists have? And
Let me show you. You'll see. All right, here we go. So I'm going to show you part of the Rorschach. I'm going to show you 4. Nico, I'm over it. You haven't stopped talking. So with that being said, I'm going to show you a Rorschaching plot. You're going to just look at it for 10 seconds and come up with your own opinion about what you're seeing. Is everyone clear? You're just do not shout a damn thing out, people. Okay? So look at it. You got 10 seconds to come up with something. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Come up with something that it looks like. 2, 1. Turn to your neighbor and tell them what you see.
Baby
Five, 4, 3,
Oh yeah.
2, 1. Please listen. This is what we mean by it's a test. So what happens is if I am your therapist and you are my client and I want to know what's happening in your subconscious, what I would do is I would show you this picture and I would say, all right, Ella, what do you see? And Ella will say,
Like a mask.
a mask. And I would write down a mask. And then after the course, I would say, well, Ella, the fact that you see a mask is because your unconscious thinks that you're hiding your true self-identity and that you are not exposing who you are because society is so hard on you. Okay? So when we talk about these projective tests, the therapist shows you this, asks you what you see, writes it down, and then analyzes those answers to try to interpret what your unconscious personality is. Remember, these are psychodynamic, psychoanalytic. So they're trying to figure out your unconscious and how it works, how it affects. Okay? So who saw a mask? Anyone see a clown? I see a clown. Look at those eyes, man. Ah. Or an angry pumpkin.
I think it's like a bug.
Yeah. It actually looks like a beetle.
It looks like
All right, here's another one. Same thing, 10 seconds. Don't shout anything out. 10 seconds, and then you can explain what the hell you see.
What? I got it.
Shh. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, tell them what you see.
Shoot that booty.
Yes! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. JR, what do you see? 2 bears? What are they doing?
I don't know, they're high-fiving.
High-fiving. That's a very... Who saw the bears high-fiving? There you go. All right, what did you see, Maddie?
I saw 2 funny.
That's what I see.
What?
Oh, it's like
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
basically-
That's a long
Their
neck.
ears.
Oh, I see it.
No, I don't see it. Fake news. There's no right or wrong answers here. It's whatever the hell you see. What do you got, T?
I saw foot finding. Have you ever seen a picture of foot finding?
Yes, I see. What the hell is wrong with you?
Where? That's the first thing I
It's
can
a scene from Inception.
I guess. Weird. What else? Anyone else see something? What do you got, Max?
So the Millennium Falcon.
Actually,
Actually,
Yeah.
But wait.
actually, it's not terrible. All right, here we go. Same thing. 10 seconds. Don't say anything.
Oh, yeah, the new one.
Ooh.
Wait, can we have one that's
And then
I don't
Oh,
know.
my
Write it in.
Oh.
5, 4, 3,
No.
2, 1. Nico, you better keep it clean over there. Talk to your neighbor. Turn to someone you haven't spoken to yet. Go. How about kettlebells?
It's like not the like it's white all
5,
that is
4, 3, 2. So I see 2 ladies doing kettlebells.
Kettlebells.
That's exactly what I see. What do you see, David?
I see like someone holding up a vase with a butterfly. Like the two things.
Oh, yeah.
Butterfly fluttering.
Yeah. That's like a vase.
Okay. This is some complete. There's no right answer here. Alexis, what do you see? Someone said a sack of potatoes. She says that this right here is proof it's a potato. I have no idea. All right, one last one. You ready?
Oh.
Whoa.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tell them what you see. Go. Goodbye. Goodbye, Nico.
It's an exciting day. It's Thursday. No more school. 3-day weekend.
Kidding.